G'day, it's Stevic from 12 Ninja here. And look, if you like American football, you should check out Saints Happy Hour podcast. I personally know fuck all about American football, other than it's a bunch of massive blokes wearing spandex, shoulder pads and helmets, running around with throwing a football. In Australia, you don't throw footballs. You punch it or you kick it. And there's no protection. They're all naked, and there's sharks and crocodiles fired out of cannons onto the field, and we all stand around and drink blood watching it. But if American football's your thing, you know what to do. Saints Happy Hour podcast. Stick it in your ear hole.
All right, everybody, welcome to another edition of Saints Happy Hour podcast. Happy 4th of July weekend. Hope you had a great one. We got Kevin here tonight. We got Andrew. Dave's in his bougie vacation in Turks and Caicos, hanging out with the Kardashians. So we have a great show for you tonight.
I'm pretty sure the Kardashians go to Bora Bora, bro.
Yeah.
I don't think they go to Turks and Caicos.
He's
probably hanging out maybe with some C-lister.
They consider that poverty, right?
Yeah.
He's probably hanging out with like Kato Kalin or Carrot Top or something, right? So we have a great show for you tonight. We're going to talk about the Ramczyk deal. We're going to talk about the Marcus Williams deadline that many of you, including myself, probably don't realize. The Saints have to sign him by July 15th, or they can't do a long-term deal with him until next offseason, right? So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the safest bet for the Saints in 2021, what player is most likely to have a great year. And we're down to the final four of the Drew Brees worst decision bracket. Find us wherever you get your podcast. Rate us, review us, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thomas works his ass off on it, and it hurts his feelings when he posts videos and they don't do really, really well. And
listen, guys, if you're new, you want to stick around for the bracket because Dave, who's not here tonight, created some pristine audio, just a tremendous intro. Right. For our Final Four, and it's going to be the best audio you've ever heard in your life. So you want to stick around for that.
That's right.
Really crisp quality audio.
That's right. But since Kevin, you're here, we need 45-second love update. You and the doctor, how are things going?
Okay, start the clock. So everything is going well. I met her parents for the first time 2 weeks ago. They came to visit her, met them for dinner Friday night, and liked it so much they wanted to meet me again on Saturday night for dinner. And got along with them great. The doctor said that they enjoyed my company and they liked me very much. So parents like me, the doctor likes me. We're doing really good.
Yeah.
Did you talk about your wrestling during that said dinner? Either dinner?
No, the wrestling did not come up. The Saints podcast did not come up. I was basically just asking questions, nodding, asking some follow-ups, making eye contact, that sort of thing.
Smart. Very smart.
I mean, talking about mentioning either wrestling or this podcast
would decrease my chances of maintaining a long-lasting relationship with their daughter by at least 47%.
100%. And here's a tease and reason why you should become a patron. I recorded the pregame show today, and I have a story of a father meeting me for the first time and hating me to a level which you will not believe. If you're a patron, you'll get to hear that. If you don't, you won't. So just
wait, all that's recorded?
All that's recorded.
Like video too?
Video? No, just audio.
Okay.
Audio. Yeah, no video. So, actual Saints news, Andrew. The Saints, they signed Ramczyk, and that deal was, at first we thought it wasn't really a market-setting deal, but it ended up, like, Schefter got the numbers wrong. It was like, can be up to $102 million, 6 years. Like, he's the highest paid right tackle in the history of the NFL, more than $1 million more than Lane Johnson, the second highest paid. So it did kind of reset the market in a way we didn't really think when we did the breaking news podcast.
Yeah, well, it's a nice contract for him, obviously, and like you said, it's a rich deal for right tackles. There's an interesting kicker in his contract that if he becomes an All-Pro at left tackle, he gets an additional incentives to the tune of $1 million. So
Yeah.
I thought that was smart by his agent because Teron Armstead's in a contract year and he may be on borrowed time just physically. Who knows how long he can go. So from an age standpoint, so Ramczyk would get moved to the left eventually. I think that's a good prediction by his agent and smart to negotiate that in there.
Kevin, that's a great move by an agent. Is it better than, say, Ricky Williams' Master P when Master P was his agent and the Saints screwed him over and he worked for like $8.07?
Yes, I would say that is a slightly better deal that that Ramczyk's agent got for him. So he can become an All-Pro at any point during the length of the contract, right? Like 6 years.
Yep.
That's
okay.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's a good question though. Like, how do we feel about Kevin? By 2023, is Ryan Ramczyk going to be the Saints' left tackle?
That's a good cutoff time. That really is.
It's 2 years,
Yeah, because you can't push on that. I'll say yes.
Andrew?
I'll say yes. I think Armstead plays this year, and Ramczyk takes over next year.
Yeah, see, I don't know that it's necessarily about longevity for Armstead as much as how long can you pay both. I think it's going to be more about that. And I think the decision to move on from Armstead becomes a lot easier if Landon Young can play right tackle for you. So I kind of have my eye on him just because he's from Kentucky. He was a good player in college. I think he has good potential. And so, if he's a guy that year 2, year 3, he's going to need some development, but I think he could be like a Zach Strief or John Stinchcomb type. And so if they have someone in the building they feel good about, it could honestly be sooner. But yeah, 2003 is a good call.
Yeah, the thing is to me, Kevin, is if Armstead plays out of his mind this year, like Trent Williams for San Francisco, he got $150 million and he was 32. And that would be 3 straight years of Armstead having good health, right, Andrew? So to me, if Armstead continues at his same level, like there's no way the Saints can pay him, Kevin. And if he doesn't continue at the same level, the Saints won't want to pay him. So I don't see a way where like Armstead's on the team. And I know the Saints keep who they want, but am I being a negative Nancy here and thinking this is it for Armstead?
No, I just reading the tea leaves. I mean, that's all you're doing. Is this his last year under contract or under a negotiated thing?
Yeah.
Sorry for the.
Yes.
Okay. So okay, but what I'm saying is he can still play this season.
Yeah.
And then the team can just make the decision. Well, we're moving on.
He'll count dead money though against the 2022 cap.
Loomis,
that's how.
But he's got 3 ghost years on his deal, but he's not. He'll be a free agent next year.
Yeah.
Look, here's Mickey Loomis.
Yeah.
It's Minority Report. It's this. It's this. It's this. It's move this down here and up that over there. Ha ha ha. Not worried about it. Ghost years, schmost years.
We need the lady with the math numbers squinting. We need that GIF, or we need the Hangover GIF of Zach Galifianakis. The other news, contract-wise, Andrew, that snuck up on me, and I was partying in New Orleans, hanging out with my family, is I had totally forgotten that if you franchise a player, you have until July 15th to sign them to an extension. And if you don't, you can't sign them to an extension until the next league offseason starts. So if the Saints don't sign Marcus Williams by July 15th, they cannot He's locked in, and they cannot sign him to an extension until free agency starts next year. And then they could tag him again, and of course, that number would be ridiculous. I think it would be like 20 million. So the clock basically is ticking. They got 10 days to get Marcus Williams done, because I don't think they'd tag him again. Do you think they're going to get it done in the next 10 days?
Well, no NFL player wants to play on a tag, so I believe he'll want to get this deal done.
Yeah.
So it behooves Marcus Williams. He doesn't want to play on a 1-year, $10 million deal where he tears an ACL or something horrible happens this season, and then he enters free agency again, and he's rehabbing an injury, and he's done. He'd much rather get, I don't know what a signing bonus would be, but let's just say $40 million in cash, right? He'd much rather get that and have a long-term protected deal. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, there's not a lot of time left. It's a good sign that Ramczyk is already done. But, I've heard a lot of people also just talk about, hey, now they have all this money. Let's go sign Richard Sherman. Let's go sign, all these other players. And I just want to point out, one thing that not a lot of people are talking about is the rollover situation. And the Saints are going to be in a similar tight spot next year with the cap. And anything that you don't use rolls over to the following season as available cap space. So, right now they're like 15th in the league with about over 10 million in space. And I don't know that they're necessarily going to spend that money. I think it would be smart for them to actually see what they have, at least wait until training camp, see what they have. And of course, if corner looks like a disaster, then you go get a corner, you go get Richard Sherman or whatever, and patch that leak and get a little depth. But I think the potential of signing Marcus Williams, giving yourself even more cap space, and then using that as free space for next year because you roll it over, might actually behoove this roster more than using it this year.
Kevin, Lattimore, Armstead, you can only extend one, and one's got to walk out the door. Who are you keeping? Because I'm going to say that the Saints extend Williams, so you get to choose Mr. Don't Shoot Your Dick Off or Teron Armstead, but you can only have one.
You shoot your dick off.
Give me Mr. Don't Shoot Your Dick Off. The Saints need
For the jokes.
the Saints need secondary, like a solid secondary. They need that more than. Oh God, it hurts me so much to even try and complete that sentence. They need more secondary help than they do O-line help, but. Yeah, I would still say
Lattimore's younger.
Yeah,
I would still say Lattimore. I'd still say Lattimore.
Here's a good question from Charlie Como in the YouTube chat. He said, "Could we see them trade Teron Armstead if they are 2-4 or worse to start the season?" Charles, it's a good thought, but
yeah.
Andrew, doesn't trading Teron Armstead, if they did it during the year, wouldn't it detonate their cap?
I'd have to look at it. But yes, I believe, they added ghost years. And so I think they would have to pay all that right away if they made the trade. So yes, I think that would affect, and that rollover stuff we just talked about, that's not available to them if they trade Armstead, because Armstead would take up all that space.
Yeah, and the thing is, though, Kevin, a trade of that would excite you because remember, they got the extra third from the Fontenot being in Atlanta. They might get an extra third, or they'll get a third or a fourth from Trey Hendrickson. They trade Armstead, they could have a ton of draft picks that would get you excited about next May and next year until they trade them all to move up.
They'll trade 3 picks to move up 2 spots.
Right now, the projected salary cap for next year is going to be at $208 million. The Saints have $245 million, that's accounted for. So as we sit here today, they're $37 million over the cap.
Well,
look, it was $100 million last year, so
it's no biggie.
But they're gonna have to pay a quarterback next year. So
when do they stop paying Brees? Do they still pay him?
This is just this year.
Are they going to be paying Brees before Kevin gets married? Like, are they going to be paying Brees in like 2024?
No.
Well,
No, they're done after this year.
So
Tell you what, the ribs on you if you think I'm not getting married till 2024.
here's the thing. Here's the thing, Kevin. We know that your relationship with the doctor is on incredibly safe and firm footing. In love, it's
Oh, you're
solid.
about to jinx
It's a
this.
future. The future is
Yeah,
bright.
thank you. This
The
is
future is bright.
we're getting that Marlboro stink on it right now,
Yeah,
Jude.
you really are.
So I ask you this question, Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
Who is a safe bet for the Saints to have a great 2021 season? Because your relationship is in such a safe, wonderful, amazing place. Who on the Saints 2021 roster is going to have an incredible year that you would be like, that guy is going to be incredible? Lock it in, write it in pen.
I'm taking the chalk answer and I'm gonna say Kamara. Like I think that I was watching too many of those workout videos of his, or I should say watching them way too many times on a loop. And I'm just like, yeah, this guy is gonna just go off. He's gonna he'll set a new record, total catches, touches, rushing, receiving, like it just across the board. I know it's a vague nonsense answer, but what do you want from me? I'm not going to pick I'm not going to pick the third string wide receiver on the depth chart or whoever the second guy on the tight end line is and
Who's the third receiver or the second tight end, Kevin?
Would you even know?
Second tight end, I don't think I could tell you. I want to say the second.
I thought he would say Ben Watson.
No. Hang on. No. I want to say the third wide receiver.
Kobe Fleener.
Jared Cook.
Is
Thomas, don't mention
it's Traquan, right? It's Traquan, right?
Yeah, it's Traquan.
Traquan's the number 2 right now.
That's right.
Shit.
Can you name another receiver on the roster
Dave's
besides
adopted
Michael
son.
Thomas and Traquan?
Dave's adopted son, Kevin. Come on.
Adrian Arrington.
See, this is why you pay money to be patrons for our show. It's hard-hitting analysis, Saints facts. Kevin knows the roster top to bottom better than anyone
backwards
out there.
And forwards.
I think we should play. I think we should play a game with Kevin in August. Saint or not a saint? and just do like 3 names, and if Kevin gets them right, a patron wins a prize.
You should put Tony Jones Jr. as one of the options and see if Kevin even remembers that was his UDFA son.
Yeah, from Notre Dame, the running back.
All right, nice.
He got one touch.
We were saved. If he wouldn't have gotten hurt against Carolina, he would have run for like $150, and Kevin would have never let us hear the end of that shit.
I kind of wish it had happened because Dave won with Malcolm Roche, which was underwhelming.
Yeah. So
for the jokes, it would have been funnier for Tony Jones to come in a meaningless game, a useless game, and tear it up.
We
that
don't
would have
play
been
useless games around here. I don't have the soundbite.
That is sick.
I'm just gonna do it myself. But Andrew, who's your pick for safest bet?
Safest bet meaning like who will play the best this year?
Yeah, like who's a Saints player that if I said he will play at the same level that you are accustomed to the last 2 or 3 years, who would be your pick?
See, it's interesting. Like, I think the offensive and defensive line tends to be more consistent, because like they get banged up. It's funny, like we're just talking about Armstead leaving the team potentially, but to me, I would pick Teron Armstead. I'm most confident in him being awesome. Either him or Ramczyk, but I just look at it as Michael Thomas is coming back from the ankle. Apparently, that's still not 100%, which, by the way, is a little scary. Kamara plays running back. You know I mean, we
Yeah.
just saw it with McCaffrey on the heels of one of the best seasons ever in NFL history by a running back.
Running back is the most up and down thing as far as fantasy football.
Yep.
Just because they get hurt.
Yep. You know, Cam Jordan's arrows kind of pointing down right now. I mean, I'm hoping he'll have a bounce back season, but that's uncertain. And so, yeah, I would say Ramczyk probably 1A and Armstead 1B would be my picks. I know they're going to be awesome. You know what I'm saying? Like, even when Armstead's banged up, he's awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to go Onyemata because I really feel like he's going to make the leap to the second best defensive tackle in the NFL behind Aaron Donald. And also, the Saints desperately need him to be awesome. Like, that is a spot where they need him to be awesome. And this is Thomas is putting this graphic up for the people in the YouTube. They said somebody, an NFL writer said, bet $100 on who you want to be MVP. And I said, bet $25 on Jameis, $25 on Stafford, $25 on Prescott, and $25 on Wentz. And Jameis, one of one, explained to me how he could bet on 10 different guys and that would guarantee him winning $8. And I was like, dude, don't fucking tell me about how you bet MVP with $100 and you're going to guarantee yourself winning $8 in 6 months. Get the fuck out of here with that.
That sounds like Loomis math, though.
Yeah, but like I'm like, if you're just going to bet and like I want like Andrew, have you ever bragged to someone about a bet you made where you're like, I won $8 fucking dollars? So
Never.
like I was
Never.
The thing is, I have a problem, Kevin. I need to stop arguing with Jameis one of one. Like, we like him, he's fun, he's a guest on the show, but that dude, he's weird. And and I need to stop arguing.
Really?
But here's my question to you, Kevin.
Is he weirder than that guy that jumped in the green room on Spotify last Wednesday night to tell us hello? Is he weirder than that guy?
That's a great plug for the Spotify green room. The guy who said hello. I think he was confused, and I think he thought he was in his How to Learn English class, and which is cool because people need to learn a second language. But I think he was. I just think he was confused as to where he was. Like, that's all.
Well, he probably heard Thomas talking. Well, never mind.
He's like,
I'm with my peeps.
Yeah. So, Kevin, here's a question for you.
Yes.
If I told you you could bet $100 on Jameis Winston to win the MVP at 50-1, or I'll give you $50 to keep right now, what would you do?
I'd pocket that cool, crisp $50 bill.
Hell yeah.
Give me that money. I want that. I money in hand, Ralph. That's what I want.
Jameis Winston is. You think Sean Payton is going to help Jameis Winston win MVP when Drew Brees never could? Like, Drew Brees literally is in the conversation for greatest quarterback of all time. You know how many MVPs he's gotten? That many.
The same amount of MVPs as all three of us combined.
But yes, Ralph,
Right.
I'm sure that Jameis Winston is going to come in year one and make that happen.
Right.
I mean, $100 at 50-1. That is a cool.
Take the $50.
Take the $50. Oh yeah, you saw people on the 4th of July event, Andrew.
Dude, I'm in Charlottesville, and first I see a kid with a Falcons jersey on, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. This is disgusting. And it's Julio Jones. Okay, like, to be expected. But I'm in Virginia. I never see Falcons jerseys, so it was kind of weird. And I pointed out to my kid, and I'm like, look at that scumbag. You know, we both share kind of a chuckle and a laugh. And then about half an hour later,
stupid. Wake up.
I mean, I swear to God, I should have taken a picture. I swear to God, I see another Falcons jersey, an old school Falcons jersey, and completely unrelated from the other kid. It's not like they were hanging out or anything. And it was Roddy White. I couldn't believe it. I almost fainted. And I was at a restaurant a couple weeks ago, and I saw a Falcons hat on, like the main table as you walk in. You know, the greeting table. What do you call that? Like I don't know.
Hater D?
Yeah, but like you walk into the restaurant right there
The
on the main
hostess?
table. Yeah, the hostess table. Yeah, the hostess table. It had a Falcons lid right there on the table. And
Oh
so
my
like
God.
I feel like the city of Charlottesville is like following me around with all these little like planted Falcons things. And the Roddy White jersey in particular, like who's doing this to me? Like who's pranking me here? Are you good? Did you guys put these kids up to this? You're like, "Hey kid, Go find Juge and wear this Roddy White jersey." I feel like you put him up to this, Ralph.
Look for a tall, skinny guy with a tennis racket.
I see Dave's watching us from Turks and Caicos. He just chatted us up on the chat and said, "Is Dave even here tonight?" No, Dave, you're not here.
That's
And you know what?
Wait, is that
There he is.
is that how you pronounce it, Caicos?
Turks and Caicos, yeah.
Okay, because for some reason, like when I saw it in print, I was like, wait, is this somehow where we got Ralph and Cacoo's from? Like somehow it's pronounced Cacoo or some weird ass.
Dave,
pronunciation.
Dave, you're in the poor man's Bora Bora, so tell us what it's like hanging out with D-listers.
That's
the worst.
Is Kathy Griffin really that funny?
Ralph, you okay, buddy? Uh-oh. Ralph looks panicked.
That's not good. That's not good.
This is not good. Oh, yes.
Let's single cam him.
Yeah. Single cam. There's Ralph. There's the
he
panic
looks
look. There's the panic look on his face. You see his eyes right now? You see that face? That's the pre-face that I see almost every single show that we have, every live stream. That's it. Look at his face. Look, he's despondent.
Holy shit.
I'm back.
Oh, you're back.
I'm back. Thomas, I hope you're recording the backup file.
Yeah, I am. Holy shit.
Thank God.
Dave just said, "I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm sick of tropical drinks for a good while."
Yeah. Yeah, it was weird.
Dave, did you pay some kid to wear a Roddy White jersey at my 4th of July event in Charlottesville? Tell the truth.
I feel like there's more Falcons jerseys in Charlottesville than in Atlanta.
I mean, I'm starting to believe it. Yeah.
So, final topic before we get to the Brees Final Four, Kevin, and that is Janoris Jenkins was asked what organization he thought was the best that he's played for, and he went on for like 5 minutes about how amazing the Saints organization is, how Sean Payton knows how to work the players hard but not long, and it was incredible. And I just thought of the Hazlitt years, the more like to have the Saints be 5 minutes of Janoris Jenkins after the Saints cut him, and he still is like, that's the best organization. They know how to treat guys. Like, for the Saints to become like a gold standard organization, I think that might be, if you had told me in 2006 that the Saints would win a Super Bowl or become a gold standard organization, I'd have said both are fucking insane. Like, how crazy is it to you that the Saints are now viewed by players around the league as like a place you want to go?
Yeah, I was shocked to see that just from an ex-player, just in general. Like, usually, like if an ex-player is saying something, it's just some generic line, business is business, whatever.
They just cut his ass too.
But if that's the clip that Tomas is playing right there, you know, he's hanging out on a set just shooting the shit, and for him to just casually be talking like that, a professional athlete is not gonna say something like that unless they mean it.
By the way,
in a setting like that, like I don't know,
especially when you're on the Titans now, you know,
like it just. I guess that's the thing that I'm going to have to sort of come to terms with. That okay, the team, the city, and the team is still a destination. People still enjoyed playing here, still want to play here. That's good. Like I just have to. It's different for me because I'm not in the city, or I'm not as like wired into everything as you guys are. So. Yeah, that's going to take some adjusting. Hopefully, by midway through the season, I'll be used to it.
We need a couch like that. Thomas, put that video back up. We need patrons to donate. We need a leather couch like that for each of us, so we can just lay back and it can be like a therapy session. I think.
Yeah, War Goat 4 makes a good point that Jared Cook certainly did not talk about the organization that way on his way out. That is a nice couch.
That is a nice couch.
But no, it's good to hear guys, especially guys that you cut, say good things about the organization. You know, that speaks a lot to the culture, which is good. But hopefully, you know, that helps with free agents. Especially right now with the cap the way it is, like you need guys to sign contracts that they feel like they're getting lowballed on. So,
all right. So Thomas, get the Dave intro music to the
Pristine
Drew Brees bracket.
Yeah.
Pristine. I need the pristine version.
Pristine.
I need the.
That means Thomas. That means play the worst possible version.
That means play the version that he originally gave to us. This is the Drew Brees worst decision bracket. We're in the final four. Thomas, hit the music.
We got the Blue Diamonds, Yahoo Finance, Surge Entertainment Center, Jimmy Jones, Kevin Hauser, them next to me, but the Halo Mall as a care entertainer. It's your worst decision bracket.
It's poetry.
So good. And Dave's not here he is here. He's in the YouTube chat. But he can't scream at us to play and he can't scream at us to play the version that he likes, or he can't tell us that it sounds better on his phone.
You're right.
Why is that quality so terrible? It does not sound like that on my phone.
I thought for a second David appeared from the
wow. Thomas,
you
have that soundbite?
Yeah, that's a soundbite. You thought that was Dave?
Yes.
Holy
Why is that
shit.
quality so terrible? It does not sound like that on my phone.
By the way, the soundbite, the quality of the soundbite is incredible.
It is.
Thomas definitely got great sounding audio for that.
I swear to God, I thought Dave appeared out of the
it's
smoke
so good that,
in the ether and was like on the show.
Should we just
My
have that
God.
soundbite be the rest of our show? Just hit that like 7 times. Yeah,
we should.
Probably should.
But Thomas, get to the final four. Get to the first matchup. We have number 1 Yahoo Finance. And Yahoo Finance is taking on number 4 Blue Diamonds. This side of the bracket played to form all the way through. Yahoo Finance is such a bad decision. People are constantly saying like, Kevin, does the flag, like there's so many parts of it, and I'm like, it's all incompetent. It's the flag, it's the not kneeling, it's him not reading the room. Like it's so many tiers of bad decisions.
Yeah, and it made. Look, when all that crap went down, I saw people turn around and say, I won't watch the Saints or Drew Brees lost me as a fan. And some of these people were were not like, I don't want to say professionally angry, because they're just random people that I know on Twitter. So they don't make a living on that. They're just angry and take any misstep or severe error and say this is the worst thing and yada yada yada. The ultimate point is that a lot of these people kept watching the games, kept cheering the team on, kept cheering when Brees was doing well.
Yeah, all's forgiven when the touchdown passes are coming, right?
Right. My thing is, I keep coming back to how bad do you have to fuck up to get your own teammates to go on their own social media
That's right.
and tell you, shut the fuck up.
Marcus Colston came out of whatever hole.
Out of his hyperbaric chamber.
Yeah, out of his hyperbaric chamber to get on social media and say something interesting for the first time ever.
Yeah.
It was to yell at Drew Brees.
I don't know. Colston, to his credit, is kind of like putting good business tips out there lately. He's like surprisingly on point. I was going to say one thing real quick about Yahoo Finance, like how to nuke what has been textbook PR since you entered the league. I mean, since you entered the league, choir boy, does everything right, always says the right thing, and beloved by everyone. And how to nuke that, not just public perception, but then inside your own locker room. Like he completely 180'd himself. And the thing I think most bad about for Drew was that he was getting it from, the one side where, it's racist and et cetera. And then as soon as he apologized and said, hey, this is wrong, I talked to my teammates, I understand now. Then he was getting it from the other side for apologizing. And so then it was like, I will never support Drew Brees again because he apologized. And that means he's disrespecting the flag. So it was like, he was getting it from both sides. And he couldn't win. He couldn't win. So I felt bad for him, but it was also like, man, you really stepped in it because now nobody's happy with you.
Bad own goal there.
Yeah. Here's the thing that somebody brought up today on Twitter that I had completely forgotten about, and the ramifications of it was terrible, but he had something also that was a terrible decision, which it was so bad we may have forgotten about it. It may be needed to be its own seed, but I feel like it may have been a subsection of the Yahoo Finance. And Kevin, that was the stock photo that he picked for the apology of the black arm and the right arm holding hands. I mean, that was so bad. Did we screw up the tournament? Did that deserve to be its own seed, or is that just a subsection of Yahoo Finance?
You know what? That might have been. That probably should have been one. Because I got to be honest, I forgot about that.
I did. I totally forgot about it until it was brought to my attention today.
That doesn't bother me at all because that's so. That is so classic Brees. Like he's kind of cheesy, man. Like that's just right out of the Brees.
That's a bad decision, though.
You think so?
I feel like maybe it could have bumped off one of the 16 seeds if you're gonna see it.
Or like
we're gonna have to redo the bracket entirely.
Start over. Start from start it all over.
He didn't have any photos taken of him out doing any sort of charitable work.
Oh, well, in his defense, he's been doing a lot, Kevin.
No. Yeah, I know. But what I'm saying is, and it's kind of weird that here we are talking about trying to make his PR better for an incredibly.
If you're getting PR advice from this podcast, you got serious problems.
Well. That is a serious problem, Juge. I'm pointing at the screen. They can't see it. That is a serious wait, hang on. Which way am I going? Let me go that way. Yeah. That is a serious problem. Everything that caused him to have to apologize is a serious problem. So he could do a lot worse than listening to these three chuckle fucks right here.
Dave,
My
put that on a
point, but
t-shirt, chuckle fucks.
I guess I'm stopping myself to just let me just double back real quick just to thank people like Marcus Colston and Malcolm
Yeah.
and Malcolm Jenkins for the reaction that they had, because Drew Brees had a bad mindset on this. Had a bad mindset on that.
Well, he agreed to go on Yahoo Finance, so right from the very beginning,
And so when you do something that's stupid or say something that's stupid or whatever, you need people close to you, family or friends or teammates, who probably some of them are his friends, to come to him and be like, dumb.
Yeah.
Dumb.
Absolutely fucking dumb. And straighten him out. Seemingly they did.
I gotta say, like, they reeled him in, and I'm actually impressed how soft of a landing. I mean, I kind of expected that when Brees got back on the field and threw touchdowns, like it would be okay. But I'd be lying if I didn't say, like, I was nervous. Like, how are they going to be able to coexist in the locker room?
He cleaned it up fast.
Yeah, it was cleaned up quickly. And
I mean,
kudos to him. Kudos to Sean Payton, I think, really helped too with that. So.
And also, too, like, not to get political, but, like, when Trump made it an issue and Drew got to decide, am I with Trump or am I with my team? Like, that, I think, really helped him smooth it over with the team, regardless of your politics or whatever. Like, that that made it easy for him to win, I think, to win back the locker room.
Yeah.
All right.
So Diamonds.
So this thing, I feel like Diamonds gets the short end of the stick because I forgot about the photo of the black arm and the white arm, and that just adds to it. The Diamonds, man, it's pretty bad as far as a financial decision, Kevin. Like, millions, like basically $8.5 million that he set on fire. And yeah, he won it in court, but we don't know if he got that money back.
I'm sure the dude filed for bankruptcy the next day.
I'm sure he got a nice bag of magic beans.
I mean, if you injected Brees, would he? I think that $8.5 million is like, it might hurt him more than the Yahoo Finance. I mean, because 8.5, I don't care that you're worth $250 million, whatever he's worth. $8.5 million is a lot of goddamn money.
I mean, how much is $8 million to Drew Brees? Like, you got to put it in layman terms. Like, for us, what's that, like $5,000?
No, I mean, I would say $20. No.
Look, if anything that can damage your long-term reputation is extremely.
That was going to be my question. Do you care more about your reputation being damaged or losing
six figures?
6 figures.
No, 8. No, I'm sorry, 7 figures. Bad with the math.
I care more about my reputation.
Yeah. Ralph cares more about his money.
I mean,
well, because here's the thing: if you're in a position to make money, having a solid reputation or having the reputation of being a good person to work with, a good teammate,
that's true. I mean,
that can pay off.
Kevin, you're answering that way too seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
But I agree.
I always want cocks.
Go figure. Like,
Thomas is on point tonight.
Wait, is that another soundbite?
I always want cocks.
Nice.
His sound bites are better quality than our actual audio during the show.
I wonder if Thomas can create a show for us that's all sound bites.
Yes.
Have us talking back and forth with each other, and it's just a collection of sound bites.
Like, that's what we need.
Joke I've ever heard.
Thomas, you need to create a soundboard of each one of us that when we're not here, You just have it ready, and you can just play sound bites that it makes us sound like when Kevin's not here. You just have the Kevin soundboard, and you just play the sound bites, and it can be like he's here. Like
Hey,
that's your next
Tomas,
project.
check the timestamp on this.
Nice. All right.
Well, listen,
are we voting here?
Yeah, we're voting.
Are we allowing Dave to vote? Are we allowing Dave?
Yeah,
to vote
Dave can vote in abstention. But I vote Yahoo Finance.
Absentia,
Abstention.
not abstentia.
Ooh, this one's tough for me.
Yahoo.
You're going Yahoo, Thomas?
Yep.
So me or Dave? Because I did.
Nah, Dave's out.
Thomas.
You don't get to vote from Turks and Caicos. You got sorry.
I am
Poland's
voting blue.
cool.
I am voting Blue Diamonds.
You're voting Blue Diamond. I'm gonna go Blue Diamonds too. Let's leave it up to the
Wow.
fans.
Nice.
All right, what
so
do the
let's
fans say,
check out.
Thomas?
Drum roll. Don't have the soundbite.
Oh, Yahoo Finance. That's actually not very close.
Yeah.
All right, let's get the second one.
Dave is saying he saw my wife's Facebook post this weekend with her Louis Vuitton handbag. How do you know it was Louis Vuitton, Dave? It might have been Louis Vuitton. You don't know. But Yahoo Finance is through. So let's get to the second semifinal. Advocare number 3 versus Film Credits with Kevin Hauser. This one is really interesting because Kevin Hauser has been, people on the internets and Twitter are like, that is fucking terrible, using the government credits, getting bilked, and then that's terrible in itself, but then Drew Brees gets scammed off of it. This one's hard for me, Kevin, because the film credits, like, it's so funny that like Kevin Hauser like bilked enough of the people in the locker room that Sean Payton had to kick him off of a Super Bowl team, by the way. That happened in 2009. Like he booted him out in 2009, right? So, what is that real, Thomas?
That's new. Yeah. Yeah.
Is that real? You photo?
A former New Orleans
Photoshop
Saints player is calling BS on Drew
That's
Brees,
real.
claiming Drew is just trying to unfairly throw him under the bus after the QB got killed in a bad financial investment. The man in his crosshairs, Kevin Hauser, a former Saints long snapper who became a licensed securities broker.
That's right.
Brees sued Hauser for duping him into buying $160,000 in bogus tax credits back in 2008. Interesting.
Yeah. Here's a thing. Everything Kevin Hauser could say could be true, Kevin, but would be like, fuck you. You're the long snapper. Get out.
Yeah. Look.
Well, Sean Payton said that literally.
That's right.
Yeah.
Look, I'm backing the Advocare thing because Brees being swindled by his long snapper is hilarious. Especially, it's $160,000. Like you want to talk. The last one you were talking, oh man, what's $8 million to Drew Brees? What's $160,000 to
Drop
Drew
in
Brees?
the bucket.
Like Drew Brees will, that's like me and you. That's tip money for me and you.
So I would argue that's not even like a number 5 off the McDonald's menu for Brees.
Like that's weekend spending money. Advocare to me comes off as more sinister because it's Drew being involved.
Yeah, bring up the Advocare, Thomas.
Like he doesn't okay, he doesn't know that it's a pyramid scheme, but he signed off on it. He signed off on doing it. So
he knows it's a fucking pyramid.
It's like
he has to know.
He does that and he hops on that stupid fucking motorcycle.
So that
so, yeah.
picture was not photoshopped by Thomas, right? That
No.
picture is legit.
That's
No,
right.
no.
Yeah.
That was a real photo. I remember saying
God,
that. That
that's
was a real photo.
That is
And
unbelievable.
he was not allowed to ride the motorcycle at all.
I mean, that's worse than any of Drew Brees' outfits that he wears to go to movies with his wife. You know how they're always playing
Yeah.
dress up for
Yeah.
these movies?
Uncle
Yeah.
Sam.
Yeah.
Oof.
This is worse.
That photo of him with the motorcycle is worse than any photo he's taken from inside of his own kitchen.
Thomas, mark this down. Next week in the final, I want you to do like a collage of all his stock photo pics, and we're just gonna go through them and laugh at them because they are some really the Uncle Sam one is the best one, but they have some really truly hysterical ones, and we need to mock them. This one, man, it's tough. It's tough. The Twitters really likes the film credit one. I mean, Advocare is so it preys on desperate people, and that one feels kind of icky to me more so than the film credits being hysterical. And I know we always go for the jokes on this one, but as far as like I don't know. This one's tough. Andrew, I'm going to make you vote first.
Advocare is just dishonest, and I still like to this day don't really know what it is. That's the part that's real. It's built
overpriced, slim fast.
Right.
That's what it is.
But it's kind of mysterious, you know. And I don't know.
Kevin, do you use Advocare?
I'm going Advocare just because I feel like it's kind of Brees endorsing something that's dishonest as opposed to just getting duped, you know. So
I'll go film credits. Kevin,
Advocare.
What? Advocare easy for me.
Advocare for you.
Dave votes Advocare.
Yeah, easy.
All right. Well, let's. So Advocare wins. What about the fan vote?
Fan vote.
Yep.
Fans vote Advocare.
Well, film credits got one vote, but I still think we should play the Mortal Kombat sound clip just because I like it.
Let me see. It's I don't know. Oh yeah, here we go.
Flawless victory.
Or this.
Stop smoking.
I gotta roll out.
All right,
Yeah.
Kevy.
All right. Sorry, Kevin. We almost did it.
It's okay.
Not really.
It's okay.
We almost made it.
Sorry.
Enjoy the questions and the music.
Thomas, speaking of, fire up the questions and the music. And by the way, we're not making progress to my wife getting me a pie in the face. We're not making progress at all. Thomas doesn't even need to show the bracket. You people need to get on it. If you want me to get a raspberry pie in the face, get on it. Subscribe to Patreon.
RAS berry pie.
That's right. So do it already. Thomas, fire up the music.
And you restart your webcam.
Yeah, we need to see the Ralph Shuffle. There it is.
There it is.
Andrew, since you're working on good guests, get Morton Anderson. We need to have an oral history of this song.
Yes, we do.
I know Jeff Duncan did a column on it, but we need a podcast on it.
I feel like we could do a whole podcast just on the song. Yeah.
The song, the all white short shorts promotional, I guess, album cover.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean, I would want to ask Morton Anderson why he didn't retire right then and there, stop his NFL career, and just go into music.
Yeah.
He could have been somebody.
He could have been. So Thomas,
What next?
Okay, we had a shit ton of questions this week, like fucking 20. I haven't counted, but we had to choose like 5 of them. So don't worry, maybe we'll use them, the unused ones, next week. First one comes from Budrich, as always. If a former Saints player signs with the Falcons, yet gets a Bobby Bonilla deal where he gets over $1 million from them for 25 years, would they be welcomed back in good graces?
All right, for people that don't know this, Bobby Bonilla signed with the Mets like way 30 years ago, and they agreed, or 20 years ago, and they agreed to pay him $1 million for 25 years as like to defer his salary, so they wouldn't have to pay him that much now. And it was a fucking ridiculous deal by the Mets. I mean, they're still paying Bobby Bonilla every year.
They still got like 10 more years at least. Right?
They still got like 10 more years to go.
Yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous. So, like, I feel like if the Saints player went to Atlanta and wasn't that good with Atlanta, like Bobby Bonilla, he wasn't that good with the Mets, and then the Falcons were paying him for 30 years, like, I think we'd forgive him. But he'd have to not be any good.
Yeah, to Dave's point, your pronunciation of Bonilla is horrendous, by the way.
Bonilla?
But both of you. Yeah. I think, anyway.
From
yeah,
2011 to
Matt,
2035.
2035. Can you imagine just making $1 million every year? Like, just, dude, he's just sitting on some island somewhere.
He did a commercial for a mobile phone company that is hysterical. Find it on the internet. It's
incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think if a guy's hosing the Falcons like that, I think we learn to love him for sure.
Everyone. Okay, Thomas, hit us up.
Next question. A fat Greek cat asks, how good would Pete have to be not hated by our fans?
I mean, the thing is with Pete, to not be hated, he has to get rid of his worst. That's the problem with Pete. His good is very good, but his bad is quarterbacks die. And that's his problem. Like, he just has to get rid of his worst is just terrible.
Well, here's the question though. Has he crossed the point of no return? In other words, like, if he has an incredible season this year, let's say, and he makes the Pro Bowl and he actually deserves it for a change, would that be enough for Saints fans to say, okay, yeah,
no,
Pete's crossed,
no.
He's good now. We're
no
good with
offensive linemen. Once fans decide about them, there's no change in their mind, because
I don't think it's an offensive lineman thing. I think it's any position. Once fans decide they hate you,
no,
there's no turning
I think
back.
like Devery Henderson fans hated him, and they changed.
That's a good point.
Came around.
That's a good point.
Like offensive line, like
Mark Ingram.
Like, the thing is, Andrew, 99% of fans are like me. We don't really understand offensive line. So there's nothing that we can really see on the TV that will change our minds. Whereas a running back, a corner, a safety, they can make plays, big plays that we can see and appreciate, and we can change our mind, like Ingram.
So does Pete need like a Kyle Turley-esque moment where he throws the helmet across the field? Like, does he need a moment like that to save him?
Maybe.
And it hits Jameis.
He'd have to defend. No, he'd have to defend. I think he'd have to defend a Saints quarterback, and the Saints quarterback would have to be doing really well. Like, if the Saints are mediocre or worse, fans aren't going to care. But if the Saints are like 8-1 and Pete gets thrown out because he's defending Jameis, I think that's the only way it could.
Or Taysom. Yeah.
Or Taysom. Yeah.
What next?
Next question, also from our Discord, comes from Saints to Death. What NFL team do you think is most likely to have a fire sale early in the season, and does that team have a CBE?
Man, I hope so. I hope they have a corner, because the Saints need one real bad.
I think a
Oh my
sneaky
God, Dave
team
has
that
breakfast with Sesame Street characters tomorrow. Jesus.
Godspeed, my man.
Yeah.
Godspeed. I would say a team that could have a fire sale early is the Detroit Lions, and they have a guy. What's the I butcher? Of course I'm going to butcher his name,
Okuda?
Andrew. But Jeff Oku is his name. They picked him like second at corner.
Ralph can't say anyone's name right.
Okuda.
That's funny.
That's why we pay you the big bucks, Thomas. But he's right. I've got that guy right, Andrew. They drafted Ohio State corner really high
You talking about this year?
last year.
Oh, you think they would unload him already?
He was bad last year. I think Detroit.
Oh, Jeff
could be-
Okuda. You're talking
Jeff
about Jeff
Okuda.
Okuda? Yeah.
Detroit could be like, hey, Saints, do you give us a second-round pick? Give us a third-round pick. We're ejecting on him, or we're going to eject on him early before his value is 0. And the Saints would be like, all right, we got 2 third rounds. We'll take a flyer. Like I just think Detroit could be a surprise team. Kevin's smirk on YouTube frozen that on my website, it's freaking me out because I feel like he's laughing at me that I'm doing something wrong, which I always am. And
What?
it's freaking me out. Maybe I need to close the YouTube stream down. But anyway, that's my answer for surprise team. So Thomas.
What next?
Okay, this question comes from Joey P. And he asks, with the expansion to 17 games this season, what are the chances we see any team implementing load management similar to MLB or NBA?
Well, we're really just talking about one game, and I think teams are always going to be interested in load management, but so they'll try. I think they'll give it the old college effort, but I just think the minute you're trying to win an NFL game, especially if you're in the playoff hunt and you've got a meaningful game that you're trying to win, that's all out the window.
I mean, here's the thing that I think teams will try to do. I think teams will go into it, like smart teams like the Saints, and they'll say, listen, we play 17 games. Let's try to get all the players that we rotate, for running backs, defensive line, that sort of thing. Let's try to get them. Let's try to have them the same amount of snaps in 17 games that they play in 16 games. So it would be like 5 to 6 less snaps a game. And I think in theory, they'll want to do it. And I think Andrew's right. And I think in some games, you'll see where, oh my God, Alvin Kamara and Cam Jordan, they're on pace to play the same amount of snaps they are in 17 games that they are through 16 games. You might see that through 7, 8 games. But then the Saints will hit a stretch, Andrew, where they'll be like, fuck it. We got to win this game. Alvin Kamara, you had 35 touches. Cam Jordan, you played every snap. Like, I think in theory, they're going to try to do it. And they're going to try to lower snaps.
Yeah, and they'll be like, what's the big deal? You only had 3 preseason games.
Yeah.
It's all good. It's all good.
And they're just like, they only play 17 weeks. So each game is valuable. It's not like the Astros where they recently played 20 games in a row. And they had 11-game winning streak. And during the winning streak, Dusty Baker was like, Altuve and Correa, they're not playing today. And it was like, because they played 20 days in a row and they have 162 games.
Yeah, you really can't compare it to the NBA or Major League. It's even at 17 games, like the magnitude of each game is so huge. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
What next?
Okay, last question comes from Twitter, from Saint Saint Sister asks, we always ask, what will Twitter do when Jameis Winston throws his first pick? But what will Twitter do when Pete gets him killed the first time?
I like how Pete is a recurring theme here.
I feel like maybe Ryan, a.k.a. Dat Boy Wolf, who was a great guest, and by the way, check out that podcast last week. It's amazing. I feel like maybe he is firing up the Twitter questions for us. I have an answer for this. It depends, Tom. It depends, Andrew. How good is Winston? If Winston's really good, Saints fans will roast Pete. If Winston is bad, we know Saints fans have cheered an injured quarterback before.
Sick people. Mentally sick people. Sick in the head.
So listen, we shouldn't cheer if the quarterback gets injured for the Saints. It's kind of gross, kind of disgusting, but we did it before. And if Winston's bad, we'll do it again. So I think it depends on how Winston plays on if people really get mad at Pete.
Okay, so going back to the original thought about what could Pete do to maybe salvage himself, does getting Jameis Winston hurt, if Jameis Winston's garbage, does that redeem Pete at all?
It might. If Winston is bad and he got hurt because of Pete, and then Taysom came in and won like
And
5
lights
in a
it
row,
up. Yeah,
and
you're
they
like,
made the playoffs.
Pete, you saved our season. Yeah.
Literally, Pete memory as a Saints player, fans would be like, he was terrible, but remember that year when he got Winston hurt, Taysom came in and we won a 5th straight division title.
Yeah.
But it depends. It's
That
a
was
horrible
that
thing
was
to
dark.
say.
That was dark. Yeah.
We are horrible
dark.
people.
That is dark.
Sick people. Mentally sick people. Sick in the head.
Yeah. So that Thomas, that wraps up the questions, right?
Fuck that.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Solve your problems with aggression.
Solve your problems with aggression.
So that wraps it up. And I just want to say, listen, all you people that listen to the podcast, the free version, you heard me. You heard a lot of ads in this show. You heard me hitting you over the head, pleading with you to become a patron. If you become a patron, you get none of that. Patrons get the podcast ad-free. If you want the podcast ad-free, become a patron. It's easy to do. And you get things like this where I record a podcast from a parking lot dumpster when the Saints sign Ryan Ramczyk.
That's not a
Patrons?
joke. That's not a bit. That's a literal.
That's not a bit.
thing.
That's not a bit.
Yeah.
I go to the dumpster outside of my office building, and me and Andrew recorded a breaking news podcast, broke down the Ryan Ramczyk signing. Like, that's the commitment that we have to the patrons. We give them a podcast of breaking news no matter what it takes, even if it sounds like I'm under a bridge or by a dumpster. You get a podcast. And you can do it all for $7 a month. So do it already. So Thomas, fire up the music, and there we go. Fire it up, and we'll get out of here. Guys, I hope you had a great holiday weekend. Thanks to everybody in the chat room. It was great. We tried to interact with you more. Thanks for Dave for hopping in on the chat room, and for Thomas freaking me out thinking Dave appeared out of the ether and was actually on the show tonight.
I'm just glad the patrons finally got to see. I'm just glad the patrons finally got to see Ralph's face. The panic. If you can screen grab that, actually, Thomas, you should find a way to screen grab the panicked Ralph face. I feel like
and
that.
do it as a GIF.
Yeah, that needs to be.
You can have
GIF
when they do the pre-show. You can
Absolutely.
have Andrew GIF on one side and me on the other. So
Yep.
for Dave and Turks and Caicos, for Kevin, for Andrew, for Thomas running the show back in Poland, doing an amazing job. Thomas, you were on point tonight. Chef's kiss. Thanks for joining us. Remember, kids, don't shoot your dick off. And until next week, the bar is closed.